Is my mic on? Yeah? Oh, great. Oh, well timed. Thank you very much. We'll put this out of the way. Good afternoon. We're just back from the beach. We didn't do what Larch did there, put on wetsuits. We had it really easy on Shanagari. We just walked on the sand and harvested from the rocks. There's quite a bit of wind and sea swept seaweeds that were thrown up on the beach. So it was absolutely perfect for us. I just wanted to start this afternoon as I look into my basket and I find the carrageen moss. I want to start as I hold the carrageen moss in my hand and pay tribute to a lady who holds carrageen moss very near and dear to her heart. And she, of course, is the amazing, wonderful trailblazer who is Myrtle Allen. And I think everybody who has come to Ballymaloe has learned how to make her wonderful carrageen pudding, which is gone the world over and associated with the name Ballymaloe. We were reared on a different pudding. There was no cream. There was skimmed milk and some raisins in it. So when I got older and learned what Myrtle was doing, I felt very cheated. My mother had been rather mean to us with her carrageen moss. But of course, this is the real deal, and I've had many a discussion with Myrtle about the lady and the gentleman, and it was a real treat to be on Shanagari this morning and to harvest it. So I'll just put it here. It's a red seaweed. In our basket, we have some more red seaweeds. This one is, of course, our dulse or dillisk, or Palmaria palmata, eaten by the monks back in the 12th century and indeed way beyond before that. So again, quite delicious and unique taste. We have another one that's very favoured by chefs, another little red seaweed, but it's bleached by the sunlight, because we've had some sunshine in Ireland for the last week. And this is a little bleached, it's a pepper dulse, and loved for its truffle flavour. And quite a lot of research happening in the Hutton Institute in Scotland around exactly what is that flavour from the pepper dulse. Some more reds we didn't find is another amazing truffle flavoured seaweed, which is pom-poms growing on the egg rack. But we didn't spot that today, but another one for you chefs to look out for. So that's our reds. We found the greens, and I'm dying to chat to Ted about this because we're looking at prebiotics and probiotics from research that's done in Australia. And this seaweed, again, as a child, we never really bothered with the greens because we had so many others to feast on. But wonderful work happening in Australia with the ulva. This is a seagrass, and it's similar to sea lettuce. And again, protein levels just so high, up to 30–40% protein. So quite an amazing seaweed. That's our ulva. Moving on to our browns, we'll start with the two of the racks. And again, a word that you heard earlier was the Helicobacter pylori. And the little bladder rack that I'm going to show you now actually has a binding site that tricks the H. pylori and can eliminate it from the body. But again, I'm a medical doctor, so I can't say that there's any evidence around that yet. But there is emerging research, and there's a lot of work happening in this area of looking at the Helicobacter. But it's one of these it's a delicious seaweed to eat, the Fucus vesiculosus, the bladder rack, identified by its paired bladders. Wonderful just to put into a smoothie. I have one over in the fridge there that I just brought down with me from Sligo. Just one of these seaweeds that's versatile, delicious, and really, really good for you. It's a brown one. I'll pop it there. We also, on our travels this morning, we found some Fucus serratus, a serrated rack that's wonderful for bathing. And traditionally, we have had baths in Ireland. Oozes alginates, just quite incredible. A brown one, I'll put it here. We have, again, actually I harvested with Larch Hansen in Maine many, many years ago. We harvested by moonlight. He actually made those boats, and he's just so intense around what he does. It was a wonderful experience. He was harvesting Saccharina latissima on part of his harvest. This one was actually, again, thrown up by Mother Nature. It landed on the beach. Otherwise, I would never hold a seaweed like this in my hands, because we would never, ever, ever take the holdfast, the stipe, or that much of a frond. We would take out a sharp scissors, and as the seaweed is growing there, shall we say that's the rock, as it's growing, we would just simply harvest what we need. We would just take probably 1/3 of the actual marine algae or plant. So it's quite unusual to be standing. It was just thrown up for us to see today. This is sugar kelp. The children in the Hebrides would take the mannitol and the salt off it and chew it and call it sweeties. So it's one, again, that's steeped in tradition. So we would call it a sugar kelp or a Saccharina latissima. And again, remembering your sharp scissors, because you'd never ever take the stipe or holdfast. That would be the end of that particular seaweed. So down to my bushel. Larch is very fond of a bushel too. He always has a couple of them on the boat because they'll protect you if you fall, and he does some dangerous stunts, as you saw there with his boat. This one, I just thought we'd bring it from the shore, again thrown up on the shore. It's not one that we eat, but I just thought it looked amazing because here we have the baby sugar kelp. They're growing epiphytically on the actual holdfast of this one, which is the furbelows. Now in Norway they call this guy the bad guy. This is the bad, and you can see why. He's in fairy stories where he's draped over a monster coming in from the sea. I think he's called the bad guy because he doesn't have much alginate. The alginate is what gives the ooziness in the wall. So I think from an industrial point of view, he doesn't have alginate, so that was why he's bad. But there's a lot of research as to why he's bad. He may turn out to be very, very good. Who knows? We'll put him over here. We tend not to eat him. And you can see that his stipe is very, very different. It's furbelows. It's very, very twisted. Going on to our last two, or possibly three, in here, we have our large kelps, like something similar. He was harvesting Longicurus on the video. These are our Laminaria digitata. Again, we would never ever harvest taking the stipe or that much of the actual frond. We would only, again, take out our sharp scissors and take this much for kombu, for our stocks, for crisps, for so on. Very high in iodine, we have to look out for that. So it starts like an oar, and then it breaks into digits, digitata. So it's like fingers. So it's a beautiful one again. I have, of course, specially arranged for Ballymaloe Litfest, we have the May rack. And the May rack is very, very special at this time. Again, we'd never harvest this, thrown up for your viewing today. And this one is a sea rod, Laminaria hyperborea. It's a sea rod. It would have had a holdfast there. And it grows, and then in May time, it becomes a figure of 8. This is last year's growth. The meristem is here, and the growth started from here and pushed out the old growth, and this is the new growth of this year. Can you see that? It's a figure of 8 because it's going to cast off this one. This is the old one, and it's going to be cast off. In fact, we had some that were just cast-offs all over the beach. So it casts off its old fronds from last year and has new fresh fronds from this year. And it grows from its meristem, which is just here on the actual frond. Isn't that incredible? So it's Famine nabaltana, the seaweed, Famine nabaltana of May, the May weed. And people fought over that with pitchforks because if you look at the Aran Islands, when the first line, God made the world, but seaweed made that field there. And they brought that up, and they had their patches and so on. I've one left to show you. It's a beautiful one. I love it. Again, it goes into my smoothies. It's alaria, or a winged kelp. So full of minerals, vitamins, trace elements, high in calcium, just a real women's seaweed, that just because the calcium levels. I see, Nick, perhaps my time is coming near. I just wanted to say that we have to protect this. We really do have to protect what you see here, these seaweeds, and the many others that I haven't shown you. Because if we don't, we won't have seaweeds on our shore. And there are a lot of issues around licensing and so on. So you need to keep your ears to the ground, and you need to help us to look at what's happening regarding the licenses and who gets them in Ireland. My final statement is, this is a wonderful food. It's a wonderful health-giving food. And if I were to say to you, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, to quote Hippocrates, well, certainly you've got it all here in front of you this afternoon. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.